This is my book. It's irrelevant. Well, it's not my book, it's mine and Robert Galletta's. Robert was a friend of mine, still is, and I've known him since the mid-70s. And in March 2020, or February 2020, he said, why don't we do a book before we die? We're just chatting, and the next thing we just, the wheels started to turn, and lockdown happened. And so we spent a lot of time chatting over the phone, and he'd be sending me some stuff, and we decided we'd do a book about all the people that we talk about on the phone over the years that really float our boat. People like Marriot, Eugene Chadborne, Johnny Winter, and some more obscure people. And I did some pen and ink drawings with a really dodgy old pen that I found, and the pen was really hard work to use, but it brought some really wonderful results. And finally, here's It's Irrelevant. Charlie Chuck. Charlie was old, blind. He was in a big tent at Glastonbury in the 90s, in a bow tie, after dinner speaker, wild gingery afro, a goblin. He made no sense, pacing up and down the stage with a lump of wood, which he used as a walking stick, and a handkerchief, which he blew into, cried silent tears into, laughed into, a Shakespearean monster. He told dark stories in snatches of bread shops and buns, the dark place under the stairs. I'd seen him on the James Wales show earlier, destroying a drunkie with his lump of wood. We heard it before we saw him, bashing, smashing and roaring. He was a tornado, an act of God. Steele. Me and Kath turned up in this mill to watch Johnny, our guitarist. We just got a drink, we're going to go and find a seat. This woman came on stage in sportswear, very spare, hair pulled back, no props apart from the CD player, just her. For an hour she rambled, chortled, swore and danced across the stage. She played a man, a difficult man, a thief, a bruised man, a composite of men she'd known, all the way from childhood to death. It was transfixing. She never drew breath, never broke character. I never got to sit down. Steve Marriot. I was out on my paper bag rounds trying to sell a portrait. I think it was a Wednesday night in Leeds, so pickings would have been small. It was on at Brannigan's, I believe, and he was late. The band were already on stage and were tuned up. They broke in and said, "I'm ready," and he came tumbling in, stage left, still in his grey gabardine coat. He cleared his throat, sent a ball of spit 10 yards stage right, and smashed down the chords on his big cherry red Gibson. This chunky little figure went at it for over an hour. All the hits, Small Faces and Humble Pie. I decided I would ask him to sit for a drawing. He let me into the dressing room. It was small. We sat close and he talked, telling me about the cheap B&Bs around the country, the ones that Tommy Cooper, Morecambe Wise and Des O'Connor used. He had an address book full of them. There was a great hotel up Street Lane in Roundy where you could get a full English breakfast at 3:30 in the morning. It was wonderful. The drawing was pants. I was too starstruck. He said, "You're a nice man." Eugene Chadborne. Eugene Chadborne is a close personal friend, even though he has no idea of my existence, probably. I met him once in 1995 after he played the Duchess in Leeds, and queued for his autograph even though I was 40. He was sitting at a dressing table selling his music, and I was appalled that he was having to do that for himself after playing his gig. Where was his merch department? Where was his helicopter to whisk him away? My brother introduced me to his music on the cassette of his work. The first thing I heard was an old Jewish woman talking about her experiences in Nazi Germany. And then he breaks in with a country song. It takes longer saying yes than saying no. Yes is a longer word, you know. One more letter, I'll never forget. He sings, he mutters, he babbles, plays Beatles and T-Rex medleys, breaks the laws of guitar playing. He's a genius. Jonathan Richmond. When John Peel unveiled Jonathan Richmond on his radio show sometime in 1975, I thought, how can you make a career in rock music calling yourself Jonathan? Johnny's good. John works, John Lennon. Is he royalty? A member of high society? It was an adenoidal American who counted himself in and talked/sang about stuff that wasn't rocky or sexy. Songs about loneliness, light, neon light, optimism. He wrote a song called Affection, and he delivered it to a top of the pops audience with unblinking courage and sincerity. He made me laugh and gasp with awe. Andy Prowler. I used to serve pints in a local pub, and Andy used to come in, stick thin, beaky, in a long black frock coat, and we'd chat about music. I met him one night in a Leeds bar and he said he was forming a blues band. I sniffed. He asked if I'd like to be the singer. It was 1980. The future was shiny, metallic. Love Action was in the charts. Floppy hair, eyeliner, the Bunny Men, and brick funk was the order of the day. I said, sorry, no. And then I saw him a few weeks later at the little Leeds pub called The Grove. The band looked like they'd been kidnapped at a bus stop down the street and stuck on stage. The guitar player had long hair, a long glum face, a ropey moustache, and a big old style guitar. The bass player looked like a well-fed butcher/copper. The drummer worked out and looked young and sinless. And Andy, in his black frock coat, who looked like a true romantic and not a new romantic, was a revelation. His timing and mid-song chat was priceless. He was low-key, very funny, very Leeds. With no airs and graces, he called out, "This one's called Cast Iron Arm." The first line was, "Don't mess with me because I've got a cast iron arm." I nearly spat my beer out in delight. They followed that with Messing with the Kid, a Rory Gallagher standard, and then First I Look at the Purse by the Contours. It was heaven. It was packed. It was hot. Firemen filled the tables with Pilsner bottles. There wasn't room for another glass. A man called Mad Mick ran up and down the aisle, headbanging. "Remember the Cavern," shouted Andy. I ended up doing a poster for them. Enough said. Kevin McAleer. I saw Kevin McAleer on the Jonathan Ross show back in the mid-90s. A scrawny, boyish chap in a V-neck jumper, sleeves rolled up, fringe. He had a screen on stage with him that showed a photograph of 4 owlets, and he stood beside the screen holding a conductor's baton in silence. The silence went on. There were stifled giggles from the audience, a special tension. He then occasionally pointed and scratched the owlet's images. Finally he spoke and delivered a few sparse, serene nuggets about these creatures, and then showed a few more slides. I caught him on Irish telly a few years later talking about his family, black and white television, punk rockers and Christ. He broke my mind. Danny Adler. He was one of the first Americans I'd seen in real life. Not telly, not a cowboy film, a real bona fide rock and roll American in a Leeds pub. Bespeckled, acne-scarred, fit, a bit of a twinkly Clark Kent. He wore a Hawaiian shirt and had an old beat group style guitar strapped on. The band were younger, slighter chaps. He was the buzz, the battery. The way he sang, threw licks out, was assured, professional. He knew his business, had tumbled a few times, grafted. He was cooler than Elvis Costello. Roland Hunt. Roland played upstairs at the Pack Horse back in 2008. He was supporting Annie Rossi, who we'd gone along to see. He turned up on stage in a graduate jumper, a long and tidy American lad. His guitar playing was atrocious, and his singing was flat and weedy. He sounded like he was trying to be the Beach Boys in a doo-wop band all on his own. It was an epic struggle for him and for us. However, the strength of the songs began to shine through. There was so much loneliness and beauty encased in the batter delivery. Read My Pamphlet was all about a boy who meets a girl and fancies her, then presents her with a pamphlet which goes into his likes and dislikes, dreams, ambitions, and which she can peruse at her own leisure and get back to him if he sounds appealing. I ended up buying his album, which contained at least 5 more tracks than it said on the cover. His grandfather appears on the track playing a hymn on an organ. A shy and mysterious figure, Roland Hunt, he seems to have disappeared off the radar, but even back in 2008, there were artists and tribute bands doing versions of his songs. Todd Rungren. I love the title, I Saw the Light, and the song was great, lush, light-footed and sexy. The name Todd Rungren made me think of a heroic adventurer, a polar explorer. I was disappointed to find out he was a goofy, scrawny, long-haired lad, and I wasn't impressed when he appeared on the Opera Whistle Test. However, the enemy guided me to persevere, and I heard a wizard, a true star, and my opinion shifted markedly. Sometimes I don't know what to feel. The first track, it hit me so hard, it was majestic and vulnerable. I rented Something Anything from the library and kept renewing it. I was feeling crap and lonely on my art school course and remember some guy picking on me once. I retired to a safe corner and listened to the album. It was good medicine, funny, sad and romantic. All I needed. G.T.Moore and the Reggae guitars. I kept seeing pictures of them, and it was always a pretty guy in a white suit, white rock and roll scarf, white Stratocaster and a tight perm. It turned out he wasn't G.T.Moore. The name was enough to send me into raptures. G.T.Moore was a scrawny, toothy hippie with dodgy dress sense and a Tommy Steele delivery, and he played guitar as well. They were amazing. A lush sound that swung, rippled and poured off the stage. It was percussive, so percussive, and the Cockney syllables danced over the reggae beat. Dr. Feelgood. Seeing Dr. Feelgood, another great name, possibly on the same bill as G.T.Moore, was off the scale. Suits, sweat, a black and white film on stage. Men, not boys, time travel from 1964. They looked like a collective breakdown in an insurance office. A fierceness and lack of comfort came off them. They meant business, no apologies, explanations. They tore into us poor shell-shocked Leeds lads, many lads, a masculine band. They were great.